wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right and see life do what you want. So give me all the scars, I'm a human being. Cover them with tattoos so you can't see. Knew it from the start, you had problems with me and the things I could be, I just wish I had seen. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right and see life do what you want.
I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Oh, to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop.
right, 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's playing the intro. And then we are going to be live here in 2 seconds. All right, what is going on, my fellow Hendrix family? Wow, I apologize. We are running a little late today, and that is totally my bad. So everybody in chat, thank you for sticking around. Thank you. Crazy day at work. That's the name Part-Time Fisher. So it's all good, but you guys might be noticing next to me, I pointed the wrong way. There we go. Next to me, we don't have Tyler. He couldn't make it this week.
I'm doing great. Name's Kevin
in or
Lynn.
watching
John,
that was
thanks for
looking for
having me
Tyler, I'm
on.
sorry.
Excited to
Drop a
talk a
comment,
little bit
tell
about
me
fishing
he's a
and
loser, needs to be
some
here
lure
every
design.
live. But we actually got our very first guest on the Hendrix HookUp podcast. I'd like to introduce you guys to the man behind Bass Grenade Baits. How you doing?
Yep.
Definitely. And by all means, if you guys don't know who this man is or any of his baits,
Yeah, you're right.
he has been in a few boxes in the Hendrix before. He's been in with I think it was the Nunchuck.
In the July box, yep.
Bait. And then after the Nunchuck, he also then had the Dreadnought. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, it was the Warlock. Warlock was the very first bait featured. And then after that, it was the Nunchuck and the Dreadnought, which that was a phenomenal box. Yep. Because we were able to use that.
Right,
bait,
yep.
God, a million different ways is what it feels like. I think that's kind of the thing that drew me into your baits.
I got one right here.
Your baits are different, and we were talking about this earlier. They're different in a good way. Meaning,
It's a little,
yes, your Nunchuck's
that guy right there.
stick bait, but you take that stick bait, you give it just this little center area to. All right, let's see if that helps out. Sorry about the crackling, guys. Woo. Like I said, that's what I get. But what he's holding up was one of the Nunchucks, and like I was describing, I love the design about it because that thing just absolutely flaps, and a lot of guys look at that thing and go wacky rig. And I'm guessing that was kind of the original design was to wacky rig that bait.
Yep, that was one of the initial thoughts is, hey, let's, you can wacky rig any stick worm, but let's give it a little bit more action. Let's thin out the center of the bait a little bit right here, and then just, pop a little bulb in it right here. Give it some extra. So you throw it out there and you're going to get a lot more action than your typical, Cinco or stick worm. So that was kind of the thought process with this guy.
So, yeah.
And
sorry.
It's also, if you guys match it up with one of your, say a smaller Cinco, the 5-inch ones, the diameter of the bait too is a little bit thinner. It's not as bulky as your traditional Cinco you would see. So that in essence makes it a little bit more finesse as well. So it gives it a little bit more flexibility even with your, regular appendages here. So that was kind of the thought process in designing this guy right here. Think outside the box. What can we do? How many different ways can we rig it also?
Yes. And we'll get into that too, because Jeremy, Real Custom Art, and I, we've been playing with that thing. A lot of the guys in the Hendrix Pro staff have been playing with that bait from last month, and I think we've rigged it a bajillion different ways between all of us. I saw a couple ways I didn't even think of rigging that thing, but it's all good there.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, you also dropped the Dreadnought in, which that is more, I guess is the proper term, a creature bait. Is that the
yes,
category
that's what I'd call it, yeah.
in? And what I loved about that is, once again, a highly versatile bait, because there were guys that were Texas rigging it, there were guys that were drop shotting it, there was guys that were chunking it and throwing it on back as a trailer. I don't know. It was not a like this is the only. My mic's falling out too. It's just one of them days. It wasn't like a bait that you just have to throw one certain way.
Right. One of the cool things is to basically rig it backwards too. I like to do is basically, I guess some people might call it like a chicken rig, but actually rig it backwards, run the hook the opposite direction on it, and you really get some movement on these two big paddle arms right here in front. So another thing, hey, let's design a creature bait that doesn't look like all of your typical, you know, these guys right here, little beaver baits and stuff like that. So let's give it a little different look. Let's think outside the box. And one of the pro staff guys there, Dylan, said it looked like a spaceship or something from outer space. So I thought that was a cool comment when he reviewed that July box there. And I apologize. We've got some helicopters flying over here, so hopefully it's not disturbing the audio too much.
You're all good. I'm already making a big enough mess as it is. This is what happens when you fall behind, you're running late.
I also wanted to design this bait. Usually you're looking for a big bite when you go with a creature bait. But, you may get some of those bass with a little bit of lockjaw. So I actually designed some ribs on the center portion of it here. So if you wanted to run a hook through a smaller gauge hook, a little 2 or 3/0 hook, and then just skin hook it into one of these sides so that you don't have to get a really good hook set to penetrate the thickness of this bait, that was an option too. So there you go.
I'm guessing we've only seen a fraction, or maybe we've seen everything. I don't know. So we've seen the Warlock, we've seen, which is your standard, like, was it 6-inch, 7-inch worm?
It's a 6-inch worm. Actually, it'll stretch out.
Okay. And the reason he says
because it's got all those little.
It's got like that. He's saying like the zigzag. I called it the Harry Potter lightning bolt in the back.
I'll grab one of those in a little bit, but I don't have one sitting in front of me. But yeah, that's one of the guys we started with. We've got the nunchuck, which you've seen, stick bait. We have the dreadnought. I've got a swim bait, but I don't really like it, and it wasn't necessarily designed by me, so I haven't really been selling too much of those. And something I'm launching, I've actually just launched it a couple days ago, is a tube bait right here, and this is our Rogue flipping tube right there.
Ooh. So it's a creature bait from what I'm looking at.
Well, what it is, it's a tube, and we've got some extra arms on the side. And instead of having your traditional kind of skirt to it, it's actually got some squiggle to it, if you can see there. And this one's running a laminate. This is my version of what a lot of people would call a dirty Sanchez color. We call it an Amazon color. So that's what we've got right there. We just launched that a couple days ago. And the profile on this is super similar. You're looking at 4.5 to 5 inches right there.
Oh, okay.
So we've got a very similar profile to that. Large bass right there.
Very nice. Now, I'm one of the comments from Texas Huntsman. This guy, love this guy. He loves throwing his big worms though. What's the biggest worm you have? Is it the Warlock at 6 inches, or what do you have?
I don't have any large worms in the repertoire yet, in the catalog, but they will be coming.
Okay.
I am actually going to be working on designing a worm that you rig backwards specifically so that it sits with the hook kind of in the center and the tail sticking out, splayed out, with the bottom portion of the bait standing straight up.
Oh man!
But that is coming along with a swim bait, which I'm going to call a kind of a hybrid swim bait that will have a similar style to it, that you'll be able to fish like a traditional swim bait. It's going to look weird. It's going to have some specific appendages and things to it that might look different, but you'll be able to fish it just like a swim bait, throw it on an umbrella rig, and then also rig it in a specific way that you can throw it just like a worm or a creature bait and fish it Texas style.
Oh, you've already got me intrigued. I know you just got Texas Huntman intrigued. He gave the thumbs up. He's probably already there drooling, going, man, they're not on his site yet. When are they going to be on the site? I got to go get some.
I really hope. Here's the problem with that one is that my mold maker, it takes a good 8 weeks or so to make a mold for me. And we're just about in that process. We're about to start that. So I'm hoping sometime mid-fall, we'll be able to launch that and have it up on the website. And then later in the year or beginning of next year, I'm going to come out with a 100% own design in a tube bait. And it's going to have some weird stuff to it too. And it's going to be called the Warhammer. It's going to have an octagonal head to the top of this thing. It's going to have some skin hooking flaps on it, and it's going to be awesome.
Okay. So touching base on that, because I'm seeing the comment too, guys, we love the originality of your baits. I guess, I'm gonna ask the simple questions that everybody likes to know. How what got you into bait making?
Hmm.
B, after you answer that question, is so you were mentioning a mold maker. Do you design your own baits and then have somebody generate your molds, or do you take pre-existing molds and tweak them?
We've got a little bit of both. I'm going to answer the second question first,
Okay.
actually, as far as making the baits. I have a little bit of both. I do have a couple of entries in the catalog that are molds that are designed by somebody else, and we just basically come up with unique color patterns. But then the dreadnought and the nunchuck are 100% my own design. I actually do the CAD work myself and design the bait and send it off to a mold manufacturer that CNC's a mold for me, and they are in Birmingham, Alabama. So we do a little bit of both. What the thought process is down the road is that within a few years, hopefully every one of the baits in my catalog will be 100% my design.
Ooh, okay.
Now, how did I get into bait making? Well, as you probably started fishing when you're probably 4 or 5 years old. Same thing for me. My dad took me out fishing, and I think I even saw a picture at my parents' house a year or two ago with me holding my first rod and tackle box, and I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And I grew up about 20 minutes away from Guntersville. I grew up in North Alabama. So that's where I started fishing, as well as a lake down in kind of east central Alabama called Lake Martin, where my grandmother had a lake house there. So I had plenty of time to fish, and it was just the competitiveness, even as a little kid, that really got me into fishing. And as I got a little bit older, I kind of got interested in being a designer of some sort. I wondered if I wanted to be a graphic designer one day, or an architect, or this or whatever. And I actually ended up going to school for landscape architecture. So I had a design background after school, and worked at a hand of different design firms here in Denver. And I don't do that anymore. So my creative outlet is this now. So in my interest in fishing and having a design background, I just kind of combined the two together and started coming up with some wacky designs, and said, maybe I should actually open a business one day. So I started this about 11 to 12 years ago, coming up with some bait concepts, and kind of brought everything to fruition 2 years ago and started a company. So that's how we got here.
Okay. Now, I got to play that devil advocate a little bit, but we'll get to that question. But you mentioned starting the business stuff. Is this your full-time gig? Are you part-time in it currently, like myself, where you got a full-time gig to pay all the bills, and then fishing and YouTube and Instagram's all kind of on the side?
Yep, I've got a regular full-time job like most people. I work for a general contractor.
Okay.
In Denver. We do commercial construction, so that's my 8 to 5 job, and then I spend my evenings and weekends making baits.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll flip-flop one day, and I'm making baits full-time.
I was going to ask, what's the I guess when you started this business, what was the goal versus what's the goal now?
Well, my goal was to sell the first pack of baits, 2 years ago. Let's just make a start. Get a website up, and now the goal is to expand the catalog, get some brand awareness out there, start having people think about, hey, what are the newer baits out there? Maybe we haven't heard of them, but maybe we can start making, this a staple stick bait now. It's going to be hard to get to that point, but that would be my kind of overall goals, to coming to some of those realizations, how we can start getting some of our baits as staples in certain, fishermen's hands throughout the country. That's my biggest goal. Might take me years, but I'm willing to do it. So
now you said, making that the staple stick bait. I can tell you right now, at least from the Hendrix family, hopefully you saw the photos and everything. We put that stick bait to the test, rigged it a million different ways for you. We caught anything from small fish, big fish, bass, bluegill, crappie. Did I have I don't think anyone got a pike on it yet. And I say yet, give me a little bit, I'll get you a pike.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. I know Jeremy just the other day, for example, runs a drop shot. Well, a couple ways we were cutting it in half, taking the ball, running it right onto the drop shot
Perfect.
hook. That was option number 1.
Yep.
But option number 2, which actually gets a bit more, is we were actually just wacky rigging it on the drop shot.
Mm-hmm.
And those, like you said, because you do those lighter appendages, those things were just sitting there floating. So
Yeah, it's like it's almost
yep,
flying.
didn't even need to give it any action at all. It was doing all its own action. Then we had guys that were traditional wacky rigging, weighted, weightless. We had guys Texas rigging it, which I didn't even think of doing. You have to get the right size hook because they were just running the hook through the ball basically. And then the one that blew my mind was G.I. Joe Outdoors ran it as a jig trailer.
Oh yeah, that's.
I never thought about running a stick bait as a jig trailer, and I think it was on a chatterbait even, and it got destroyed.
Yep. Now, was he running it, just threading it through just like a Texas style, or did he rig it right through the ball in the center?
I was thinking of that too, rigging it as the ball in the center and just having those longer, like a longer kind of appendage. He ran it just like a Texas rig.
Okay, so it was just
the
a tail
kind of
swimming like that with it almost.
Yep. So, but yeah,
Perfect.
I get what you're saying. If you would have taken the hook and just wacky rigged it, but on the jig, giving it it'd be a longer appendage. So, I mean, definitely want it.
Just looks like big craw arms then almost coming
Potentially
off
miss
the
some
back.
bites on some of the smaller ones if they don't get the whole bait in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But that was absolutely fun. I mean, I could definitely see that becoming the new norm for a stick bait because I found more use on your stick bait than a normal one.
Any of you guys run it a shaky head?
I know Gavin in the pro staff, he loves shaky heads.
Okay.
He is a huge shaky head guy. Why? What you got for him?
No, I'm just saying that's a great way to run it too. I mean, like I said, that was the whole thought is, can we come up with more than 2 or 3 ways to run it? It looks like we can come up with, maybe 8 to 10 ways to rig this sucker if we want to. Yeah. One of my favorite ways is running it Texas rig, weightless, but then coming back and sticking a nail sinker in the other end. That is my favorite way to run that thing.
So basically kind of almost like a Nico rig in a way.
No, just like, if you're going to run it Texas
Okay.
rig without the bullet weight and then stick the nail weight in the other end. So literally you can get it to stand straight up. And what I like to do is just bounce it a little bit and then I'll swim it 10 feet, stop it and bounce it again. And I actually get more hits when I swim the thing once I take it off. But that's one of my favorite ways to do it, mainly because it's weedless at that point. And if you want to throw it into a brush pile, you can literally throw it right into a brush pile and jig it and pull it right out.
Gotcha. See, I never thought of renting Texas rig with the new. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that then. That's gonna be on the repertoire there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one I'm gonna ask because Tyler's not here. I know he would ask it. But it's more fun for me to ask it now since he's not here because now you can give me your true answer versus the BS answer. It may be the same either way, but you said more brand awareness. Now doing things like partnering with Hendrix Fishing, getting your baits in the box. I know when you do something like that, it's not a huge money maker. You make some money because, I mean, you and Tyler sit down, you figure out a price that works best for both of you, but it's definitely not a huge money maker. But is taking risks like that, is that something you see being beneficial for the brand, and did it help?
Absolutely.
The brand, I should say?
It has. It's been absolutely worth it to me to, do it at a little bit of a discount to get it in your box. And it's not just, the subscription anglers that are getting the box. It's all of the social media that's coming along with it. You guys, the brand ambassadors, everything. So it's been a huge benefit for me. So yeah, no doubt about it.
So do you see yourself going in more boxes? Are we going to get some more of Bass Grenade baits, and are we getting some of the new?
You mean more boxes as in other brands beside Hendrix? Is that what you're saying?
We'll get to that
or
one next,
in
too.
more
But I just
boxes,
more Hendrix boxes,
different months.
And are we going to get some of that new before anybody else?
I would love to give the new to you guys first. No
I can
doubt
already
about
tell
it.
you. I can already tell you
Yeah.
the pro staff would be excited about that. We tear those baits up for you.
See, that would be actually the best thing for me, is to get the new in the hands of all you guys so that you can find the best techniques for it. I'm only one person. I can't, spread the word about every single technique. And, if they're seeing you and Jeremy and the Zamalek guys throwing this tube bait right here, and, what's the best way to fish it? Slow, whatever. So, yeah.
Now, you don't have to, with my next question here, you don't have to name names, or you do.
Mhm.
It's up to you. Have you been approached by other companies that do boxes? And if so,
hmm
are you going to be in them? And if not, what are some of the reasons why you won't be going into those boxes versus why you picked Hendrix, for example?
I'll start with yes. I have no agreements currently with anybody, but I do have an agreement with it's a little bit different. There's a company down in Arizona, a guy that I work with, that he makes his own custom crankbaits. So it's a little different than a subscription box. He's kind of putting together I guess it's kind of a branding of lures. His company, he's a veteran-owned company, and he basically sells his crankbaits, and then he has his own little box where he includes a couple of other companies with a little bit of that army or military theme to them. So, that company is called 8Up Fishing. So anyway, other than them, I'm not in any other subscription boxes, but if I'm wise and I want to grow my brand, that could happen at some point down the road.
So, what were some of the things then that led you to saying yes to the box? I guess what was it about Hendrix Fishing or Tyler, or any of that said, okay, yes, I want to jump in with partner with them, because it's kind of a risk. You don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what It's kind of, you're throwing yourself out there. I mean, I guess,
Mhm.
did you do a lot of research before? Have you done Hendrix before? I guess, how did that all go about?
I think it was two things. Small business, his awareness and wanting to spread the word about small business in the angling industry, and the American-owned product. Those were two of the biggest things right there. So there's not but maybe a few of those out there, companies that are doing subscription boxes in that fashion, that I'm aware of. So, I mean, could you imagine me trying to approach like Monster Bass or something? They'd say, yeah, sorry, you're not a big name, so forget about it.
Well,
So,
I like how you bring them up, though. What if like a monster
uh-huh.
bass came to you? What is that out of the picture?
In my mind or their mind?
No, I mean, in your mind. Let's say they see you getting exposure. They like
hmm
their Gennady baits, because let's be honest, your baits are different, and like I said,
hmm
it's a beautiful thing, because the fishing world is so saturated right now. I mean, dear God, how many times has a bass seen a standard Senko? Let's be
Yeah,
let's be honest for a second. So throwing something like yours
exactly.
that's just a little different action, a little different look to it, it's going to get them more intrigued. So I mean, if like a monster
hmm
bass, or I'm gonna throw it out there, what if like an MTB or a Catch Co came to you? Then
Yeah.
what?
Well, well, then I got to do some major business planning because, the quantities that they would need would be, pretty far up there. But I think that would be, I guess, from my standpoint, a pretty flattering offer, and probably want to try to find a way to make it work. Then that
Now,
means I'm kind of moving in a bigger direction. So,
so are you kind of a one man show then, or do you have help? Do you get help? I mean, how does this work?
I am a little bit of both. About, I'd say 80% of the baits I make myself, but the dreadnought, I don't make those at all. I actually have a large production mold that I had made a couple of years ago, and it sits in Alabama at a plastic injection company. And basically what I do is I send them, color combos or whatever I want to do, and then I'll basically put an order in so they can hit 64 baits in one shot for
Oh
me.
wow. Okay, so
So,
you know what? that's fair. You had me going for a second when you said you don't make them. Like, uh-oh, what's he getting to? But they're still made here in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
But because
Deeps
you know
out.
it's one of your bigger sellers and you just can't keep up with demand,
Right.
it's your mold, it's your design. You just have them doing the production side of it for you.
Yep. All they're doing is mixing some plastic to my, specs with, colorant, glitter, whatever it might be, any salt injections, stuff like that. Every bit of that's to my spec. And then they'll just do a run for me and whatever, 10,000 of them, whatever I need, they'll ship them out to me. And then I still do all the packaging though, even then once they arrive. So, but anyway, my goal also would be to, if we can get to that point, which I'm going to have to end up getting to that point probably with these nunchucks, because we're selling quite a bit of those, is get to where we get a production mold made of that too. And have my company down there in Alabama, they're called GNR Plastics, just like Guns N' Roses.
Love it.
So yeah, they shoot those for me. I'd like to have them start shooting some of those for me as well.
So do you normally just have them shoot a bunch of bulk for you? That way you can get some packaged, have it ready to go kind of thing? Or do you have them shoot it like based on the order? Obviously, if it's a small order, you might just take care of it. But like, for example, the Hendrix order, I'm guessing that was probably bigger than you could shoot in the time frame.
Right. So I did the July box. I actually did all of the nunchucks myself.
Oh boy.
But and it took quite a while. So sitting out here in the dark in the shed with a light on, making a lot of those, but they turned out great. But the nunchucks, I actually had, the dreadnoughts, we already had the stock in hand. So it was basically packaging all of those.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's little things that I don't think of, because obviously we talk to so many different companies. In Germany, I got to do it last year. We were in Fish Talk. We were talking to a lot of small guys, and a lot of guys were like, no, it's just me, maybe my brother, my cousin, my neighbor. They'll come help me do this or that. But I like how you've got it to the point to where you're still keeping it American made. You're still keeping it, custom, but you figured out how to take that custom and make it more production style.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it. Obviously, we don't want to look at it as kind of like mass production, because we're not really there. But for me to keep up with the demand that we have, at least for the creature bait, I couldn't do those right now on my own.
So I'm not gonna say when the business takes off, and you get to that point to where you're gonna need to be more restaurant. Maybe you got some retailers reaching out to you, because I'm guessing you're in some more small bait shops here and there. But let's say a Bass Pro, you approach them and they're like, yeah, we'll pick up your baits and we can, but they're gonna need a lot. Are you gonna keep going through like the Alabama guys, or is your goal to get your own production there in Denver or something closer to home?
No, I would probably, there are a couple out here, but the cost for me right now is more beneficial running it down there through my Alabama company. And they're literally kind of even still a mom and pop style shop. I work with the nephew, and the grandmother owns the business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's really cool. They're, really quick to try to fill orders for me. And I would probably, for right now with the cost, I'd probably stick with them. The only additional cost I'm paying is to have them shipped to me. So that's, would make a little more sense, I guess, to kind of do it here. But I haven't found a company yet, an injection company that would, meet some of these prices yet. So, and I'm happy with what I'm getting. So.
Gotcha. I love it. I wasn't expecting you to say that small of a company.
Yeah. Well, there's a bigger one right down the street from them, and they would only run colors of 10,000 units at a time. I'm like, nope, sorry. So, this guy will run as small quantities as, 1,000 baits for me.
So I didn't mean to laugh at what you were saying. I was laughing at Texas Huntman. He had to drive for a little bit, so he probably missed it. So I'm going to ask the question because I'm curious now. You've mentioned, he does not live up in Canada. Texas Huntman calls Nebraska Canada because we talk about ice fishing. You guys get to, but no, Texas Huntsman, he's in Denver, Colorado. And I'm going to ask without, obviously without giving your exact address away so you don't get people showing up at your front door. Whereabouts in Denver are you? What part of Denver are you in?
East Denver, near Lowry.
Near Lowry. Okay. So then Oh, are you straight east or are you a little bit more south?
Pretty much straight east, yeah.
Okay. So how far away would you be from the Castle Rock area?
40 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say with traffic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come,
It's about 30, 35 miles from Castle Rock.
okay. So when you go fishing, what do you go fishing for? Because obviously in Denver, you're talking Colorado. A lot of guys go trout
Mm-hmm.
fishing when they up in the mountains and creeks and rivers, but you also got smallmouth.
Mm-hmm.
You got walleye in some of the lakes. You got some pike, which is this true? Am I reading this right? Are pike considered, except for a couple lakes, are they considered a what's the term? A non-native species? Like
In Colorado?
an invasive
I don't
species?
think so.
Because I was reading in
I
some of
don't
the
think so.
reports last year when I was out for my sister's wedding that some of the creeks and streams and ponds, they're invasive.
Maybe. I'm wondering if they're meaning, hey, they're more, lake-bound type of fish versus stream, or river. But as far as I'm aware, they're native species to me, and that I'm aware of. I've been out here for 23 years now.
Okay. So now I guess when you go fishing, then what do you go fishing for?
Large and small.
Large and smalls. Okay.
Large and smallmouth.
So
Yep.
now when I'm gonna be coming out there next summer, I'll have the little man.
There
I'll have
you
the
go.
little man with me. But we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna make a stop and we gotta make a stop and visit my sister and brother-in-law there. They're out in the Castle Rock area.
Okay.
Where are we going fishing?
We go over to Chatfield.
Is that the place?
Fishing in Colorado isn't great if you've lived in Alabama.
True.
I would say, unless you're going to venture up into the mountains like Mesa Reservoir, where there's some great smallmouth fishing there, if you're going to kind of fish along the Front Range, probably Chatfield, Aurora. There's a few smaller holes around here too that you could go fish. So Quincy Reservoir.
I'm trying to think of the reservoir that I fished last summer, and I'm blinking hard.
Oh, you know what? Pueblo's actually got some nice smallmouth in it, but they're a little bit further
It
south.
wasn't Pueblo. It's connected to the Platte. They're probably all connected to the Platte. That's not helpful. Why am I blanking on the name of this reservoir? But I started fishing the main reservoir, but it was way too.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that it's way too big, and it was set up mostly. I would need a boat. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went down to the dam and fished the outlet,
Mm-hmm.
and actually caught a handful of smallmouth and a handful of rainbows, and I actually caught a walleye.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I had more luck fishing the outlet than I did the actual main lake.
Are we talking north or south of Denver?
This would be south of Denver, north of. It'd be like in the Aurora area.
Okay.
What is it? Wheat Ridge area.
Wheat Ridge. Trying to think of what you might be thinking of. Gee, you sure it wasn't Aurora Reservoir or Quincy?
Pretty positive.
Okay.
I just pull it up on a map.
There's also Horsetooth. If you're familiar with Fort Collins,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure probably a little north of Denver. Yep. Horsetooth Reservoir is really good too. So,
okay.
Yeah, that actually might be the place to go. Take an hour and a half trip up north and go fish Horsetooth.
Oh, now I'm looking though on the map because now I'm really like, maybe it was Chatfield Reservoir at the state park.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's connected. Yeah.
I've had really good luck just fishing right over there off the bank, rip-rap bank, right by the boat launch.
So over by the marina or by the boat launch?
Nope, the opposite side, near the dam.
Okay. See, I was trying to figure out where I could park though.
You can park right there in the boat launch area. Yeah, right against the. I guess that would be.
'Cause they had a bunch of like signs and cones, and I didn't want to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, can I park over here? Can I not park over here? Because that was the only thing that I was like really confused about.
Right.
Because they kind of monitor. I mean, I don't know what they check for, but they were kind of monitoring that portion of the lake, I guess, like and monitoring the boats and.
Yeah, they started, I don't know, probably a dozen years ago looking for those zebra mussels. So every second time you pulled in, they would stop every vehicle and check the hull of every boat for the zebra mussels.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense because, yeah, we had that. And now are you talking about the north boat ramp?
I'm trying to sit here. Yeah,
On the-
North Boat Ramp.
over by the dam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yep, I actually went down. So there's the off-leash park.
I know what you're talking
Yep.
about. Yeah.
So I actually, that's the outlet right there where I fished. So I actually, not in the off-leash, but I parked in the parking lot just over by the off-leash park and walked over.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep.
Yeah, I know what you're. I think I know what you're talking about. Where it tapers down, and there's the river, and there's a couple of small ponds right there too.
Yep, so
Is that what you're talking about?
All I did was fish right where the water comes out. So right at the outlet.
Yeah.
And then there were some guys fly fishing up a little bit further where it tapers down a little bit.
Gotcha.
I wish I had my fly rod. I should have brought it. All I had was my little light spinning rod and a couple little meps, and I was tearing it up. But
Some little rooster tails.
now, Texas Huntman says he fished Taylor Lake in Colorado. I don't know where that is. Do you know where that is? Lots of trout, not bass, but still pretty fun. I was going to say, Huntsman, I'm not sure what that one is, but I'm guessing you might have been up more in the mountains.
Most likely, yeah.
It's like in Durango, Colorado, where most of my family is from and stuff and everything, we get a lot more trout fishing and better trout fishing just because you get up in those mountain rivers, creeks, even the lakes, they tend to do better. But obviously right now it's a little rough because of the drought.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, the west side of the Rockies likes to get dry.
Yeah, it's been horrible here in Denver until about a week ago. We got 2.5 inches of rain in over 2 days, but it only rained for like 45 minutes each day, and it just buckets.
I feel you there. The front finally came through. We had 2 days of rain. We still need more. Don't get me wrong. The ground's already kind of drying up. It wasn't enough. But the front moved in. We went from 100-degree weather, 90-degree weather to where we're sitting at a comfortable. I got the garage door open, like 80s for a high. Lows are in the 50s, 60s. So it's like, it's crazy how we just literally went from summer to fall transition.
Well, you're gonna get what we got today because it is. I don't think it broke 75 here today. It's probably 68 right now.
Yeah, we're getting.
We got some rain today too.
We won't get any more of the rain. It looks like it's going to dip south or north, but we're going to be getting that like low 80-degree weather all week, which I'm excited for. Tomorrow for Turning Wednesday is going to be nice. It'll be a little bit of clouds like it is, sunny, 80, not 100, and I'm sweating through the GoPro mount and everything. Last term it was bad. We take the GoPro mount and Jeremy starts laughing. I'm like, what? He's like, you could see the outline. It was pure white, hard crystallized salt. Right. And then I'm like, I went to go rub my face and it was just all gritty from the salt. I'm like, oh boy, yeah, we need to go drink more water.
What time do you guys start those tournaments during the day?
So they're Wednesday night tournaments. Obviously in the middle of summer where we can fish later, we'll start later.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually middle of summer, we're starting at like 6 o'clock, fish till 9:30.
Okay.
Tomorrow, for example, we'll probably, let's see, I think we're getting off the water, because it's getting dark already about like 8, too dark to be safe for the little boats, about 8:30. So my guess is we'll probably fish till about 8:30, maybe 8:45 if we need to stretch it. But we'll probably launch in right about 5:30. Try to do 3 hours.
Okay.
So the hard part though is we got a lot of small lakes, and when you get 23 plus boats, oh boy, you better have a couple spots, because if you don't have a couple spots lined up, by the time you go and find another spot, it's already been hit 20 times.
Oh, I'm sure.
But the best part about the lake tomorrow is it's our home lake. It's one Jeremy and I love going to all the time. We went out and pre-fished it Sunday. That video will be going up tomorrow night because I don't want anybody, because there are guys that are in the tournament that watch my videos. But that will go up tomorrow night, so that way they don't steal my spots. But we, a lot of guys are going to be thinking it's going to be one way. We've got the spots dialed. We got the baits dialed. So we should do pretty well. I'm hoping we can still find them. Although I think Jeremy may have cursed us. We call it a curse anytime we go pre-fishing and catch a big one. He caught a 3-pounder while we were pre-fishing.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime.
You guys were wearing them out last week. It seemed like I watched your video, and it looks like, every few minutes you had another one on.
We were plucking them left and right. The problem is, though, that lake it's still a younger lake. So there's a lot of those just hitting a pound. So if you can get a 2-pounder, 3-pounder, you're setting yourself up there. The problem that hurt us though is we still had a couple of those like .73s we just couldn't shake, and we couldn't find those bigger ones in time. And it was hard. Yeah, there we go. Jeremy said we caught 17 fish total last week during the tournament.
Wow.
And
that's over just 3 or 4 hours, right? Huh?
3 hours, and that was with us trying to get a hook out of him.
Oh yeah.
and add one catfish. He caught one catfish as well.
Don't you say you have some kind of like wild card fish?
Yep. So the catfish went towards the mulligan. Unfortunately, somebody caught
mulligan. There you go.
God, I think it was a pike, and it was like a good 2-3 pound pike that day. So they won the mulligan pot. The funny part is we actually caught, it was like 3 or 4 tournaments ago. We actually caught a .34 ounce crappie. And
oh my goodness.
I'm like, just wait. It's a mulligan fish. You never know. We get back to the boat ramp. Nobody else turned in a mulligan fish except for us. So we actually
that's awesome.
It basically covered it was enough to cover our entry fee, so we fished for free that day.
Okay, that's great.
But it was just like we almost didn't weigh it, and Jeremy almost threw it back. I was like, no, we gotta weigh it.
Heck yeah. So where is your favorite place you've ever fished? Outside of your state.
Outside of my state. It's kind of cheating. Because it's outside and inside my state. There's a state park just north of us called Ponca State Park. It's literally on the border of us, Iowa, and South Dakota.
Okay.
It backs up so the Missouri is what cuts it. So the Missouri is the border. But the Missouri up there is a lot cleaner. Down here we call it the muddy mow, and it's disgusting because everything gets dumped in. It's all turned up. It's gross. Up there, it's just sandy. So the water's actually clean. It's just, you got to deal with the sand. That was probably the most fun fishing I've had because every cast, you never knew what you were going to pull back in. And Jeremy actually got to join me on that. We went up there first, and then I took the wife up there. We went camping and stuff, but we threw in once, and we were pulling out walleye. Then we pulled out saugeye, which is a hybrid. Then we're pulling out sauger. So we pulled out all the versions of walleye we could. Then 2 casts later, at the same spot, pull out smallmouth, which for us is exciting because we don't have. Well, we do now, but at that time we did not have any lakes with smallmouth stocked. So for that it was fun. Then we moved down the river a little bit. On the same lure, Jeremy catches channel catfish. Then we started catching long-nosed gar. Then we saw, I don't know if you've seen paddlefish. They got a big old paddle nose. Crazy part is they're bottom feeders. We saw one swim by. So we wanted to snag it, but there is actually a season for snagging. So we didn't want to get in trouble.
Really?
Yes.
There's a season for snag fishing.
You can snag fish, paddlefish. It's legal. There is a season for it. Apparently they taste really good. So that's something I definitely want to try. God, what else did we catch? We caught so many different species that day. It was ridiculous. But then I went same exact spots. I caught a pike up there. I caught short nose gar. I mean, it's crazy how. I guess the fun part is I don't know. The rivers are the most fun because you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
In town, it's going to be the lake we're fishing tomorrow for the tournament. That's probably my favorite in town lake, just because it's the closest lake that has a good variety of fish, and there is a chance. There's not a lot of big fish, but if you pull a big one, you feel even better because there's a lot of smaller ones. But it's also one of the few lakes that actually has pike stocked in it. And they're growing fast.
All right.
But it's also the one we like ice fishing too, because God, we had a honey hole last year. You just go sit there. You'd be 1 minute on bluegill move out, crappie move in, bass would move in, then the big old pike would come through.
How long are the bodies of water frozen over there so that you can ice fish?
This last season we probably had a solid month of safe ice. Solid month of safe ice, I'd say. I mean, we probably had a couple weeks where we may have risked it. We did a little early ice, but you're not putting the hut up. You're just kind of, let's just go out here.
Yeah, right.
It all depends. Last year was a weird winter for us, though. We didn't have a lot of snow. It wasn't cold very long.
Hmm.
And it didn't get cold till late in the season. I mean, we were still in what I would consider warm temperatures for December. So
Okay.
we basically had January and a little bit of February, and then that was it. We got open water fishing the soonest we've ever been.
Like early March or
Yeah,
something, or
like
yeah.
actually able to. We were fishing from shore, and then we actually got the boat out. So, I mean, yeah, Jeremy's commenting. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had a blast ice fishing, but yeah, I would rather have open water all year round.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I mean, if it,
But when you don't, you go
I
make
go make
fun of
fun
it,
of it.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you do any ice fishing out there in Denver? I know some guys.
You
Guys
know what?
do.
I have never done it, honestly. I should, but I don't have anybody to go with to do that. And if I had somebody that's experienced with it, I'd probably go out with them. Yeah, for sure. Some of the mountain lakes
Yep.
up here are frozen for 5 months of the year. I mean, it's
Well, and you can also get it's the salmon. I forget which version of it is, but it's the some of those you can get up there and you can do the salmon and trout run
mm-hmm.
and talk about some good eating. I'd be all over that.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
But
Yeah, they've got some. I've done a little bit of fishing in some of the high mountain lakes, and there's one lake I fished at a few years ago. Actually, it's probably like 5 years ago, kind of just north of Leadville. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was so easy to catch the trout in that lake. Fun, but very easy to catch. So
some
yeah,
days though, that's a
it's
nice
good.
thing. Though I don't mind. I don't mind just being able to cast out and hey, look at there's a fish.
Mm-hmm.
But other days it is kind of fun and more rewarding when you can kind of get out and it's the hunt.
Yeah.
It's that you thought about it, you picked the right spot, you were working the right bait, and we call it calling your shot. Basically, it's like you did all the research ahead of time and have it paying off. You're like, yep, I did it.
Exactly.
And then other days you get out there and go, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Didn't catch a single fish.
Yeah, it is a little rewarding sometimes when you kind of have to work for it, like you're saying, and then when you do get the bite, you're like, you know what? I was planning, I needed to throw a Carolina rig, and it worked. So.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say a lot of people probably laugh because in the turning videos you might hear every once in a while myself or Jeremy go, "Oh, money shot," because we called like, "Oh, that's the perfect spot." Next thing you know, bloop, yep, called it. Or you'll hear one of us go, "Hey, you should cast over there." Sure enough, the cast right over there, boom, on the fish, and it's always fun when we call the shot almost.
Exactly.
Or we like to give each other, "Oh, dude, don't throw that bait. That bait's gonna be horrible." Throw it anyways, catch a fish. Play says it's gonna be horrible. No, I said that'd be a great bait to throw.
Or you say, "There's a grass patch right there," and you just threw out right in the middle of the lake, and then he catches one anyway.
Yeah, we've had that happen before. It's like, what are you doing? Let me just throw out in the middle. Why not? Yeah, it's tournament fishing this year has been real fun and real interesting because you learn a lot real quick. Because tournament fishing is a whole different animal.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I like to try to get jump on like a BFL or something every couple of years, and I went and fished one down in Gunnersville, middle of 2020. Had to wear a mask and everything on stage because that was right in the middle of COVID, but it was one of the worst tournaments I've ever had on that lake, and it was so hot that they actually reduced the your limit to 3 instead of 5. And they're asking everybody to put ice in their live wells and everything like that, and I still only came back with one fish.
Oh, jeez.
It was 3.5. It was 3.5 pounder, but I caught 2. Gunnersville, the legal limits, it has to be at least 15 inches to bring it in, and I caught one that was 14 3/4, and I had to throw it back, and then another small one. But the one good one that I caught, 3.5 pounder, I was actually reeling in. I was on the back of the boat, and my boater had one on, so I had literally just cast. So I'm like, I don't have time to reel in. So I set my rod down, netted his fish, and as soon as I pick it up, I take 2 or 3 turns, and the water was super clear where I was at, and 3.5 to 4 pounders came out of a big milfoil patch. And they were like fighting for it, and I happened to catch the smallest of the 3, but it was pretty exciting though.
That's how it goes. I mean, I think in last one you might have seen it. I set my rod down and I caught the pliers, so we were trying to get the hook out of Jeremy's finger and everything. And sure enough, I'm looking at my rod. It's going tick 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 tick. Tick. I had to go grab it and had a fish right. I'm like, of course, right when I'm not paying attention, that's where I catch one.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Apparently, though, you said Gunnersville. So yeah, apparently Gunnersville is where Gavin will be fishing in September. He's doing the. Oh, I'm gonna screw it up. I'm gonna screw up what he's in. He's a non-boater, but I forget which. Which series he's fishing. But he's been doing that recently. God, is it?
I'm just gonna spit it out there. Maybe is he watching right now? Is he on?
I don't think he is. I haven't seen him chat. I think because he is still in school.
I'm just wondering if he's fishing some of the MLF tournaments. Like the Tackle Warehouse version or whatever.
MLF one, but I think it's like a BP. I can't remember. I know I'd have to go back and watch we had him on as a guest one day, and I'd have to go through and double check what it was again that he was doing. But
told him he needs to throw that dreadnought when he gets out there. So see what happens. Fishing there is actually where I thought up some of the design for that bait. Is how can I punch the grass with it? Obviously, let's give it a different look, but. I came up with some of the concepts after fishing there a million times. So
I was gonna say, do you watch like a lot of sci-fi or something? I mean, how do you come up with these designs? I mean, because the dreadnought looks like
my wacky mind.
And then you got the warlock, and then it's just like, I'm like, where is this man? Like, is he watching sci-fi going, that's a bait?
You know what? It's funny you say that, is because I might look at certain things in the yard here and go, you know what? That has a shape a little bit like something that might be a creature. And there's too many designers out there right now that are trying to mimic, some sort of prey that's in the water too close to making it look like a real fish or whatever. And I'm trying to go a little bit in the opposite direction. I think bass and fish are dumb a little bit for the most part, that if you throw something that looks like it could be prey, then a lot of times I think they're gonna bite it. As long as you're not throwing a little branch that you snapped off a tree with a hook on it, they're not gonna bite that. But
unfortunately, I've seen videos where that works too, though.
But yeah, my thought process is let's do something that's different, totally different. Doesn't look exactly like a fish or exactly like a crawfish. See what we can come up with. Throw it out there. If you start catching fish on it, then you might have something.
Now, I'm going to dig a little personal, but any family?
Mm-hmm.
Like kids, wife, anything like that?
I have a wife. She's sitting in the house, probably waiting on me to come eat dinner. But I'm married. I don't have any kids.
Okay.
Been married for 16 years now.
I won't ask for any kid advice. I guess any life advice then.
Any life advice.
Especially with the young one on the way.
Life is super short. We only get one trip around this planet. We're always going to work hard, but find time to have fun and have time for yourself to get out and do things.
Okay.
Look for that next adventure. That's my only advice.
Okay. No, that's fair. I like it. I like it. Especially with the young one. Make the time to do the adventure. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. That's fair. That's perfect. Now,
if you go back and say, I wish I would have done this years ago.
Screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what I told my guy when he bought the Corvette.
At least that's my thought process.
Yeah, that's what I told the guy that bought the Corvette today is, I think the reason he said yes was I told him you don't want to wait till you can't get in and out of the car.
There you go. Exactly.
And he laughed and went, you know what? You're right.
Let's do it. Right.
So now does the wife get into fishing?
She doesn't. I've taken her fishing a few times, but that's not her gig.
Does she help out with the names?
Which is fine.
Or help out with the baits at all?
Yeah, she's helped me package. She actually I think she helped me package that last July order for Hendrix.
Okay.
So.
And she's fine. She's fine with this endeavor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I guess she probably has.
My wife is all about. She wants to start her own business as well. So we're, I guess, entrepreneurs at heart.
Okay.
Both of us. So yeah, she's totally all up for me doing this. What is she
going to get into?
My wife is an interior designer, and she wants to start a furniture business sometime here pretty soon of, repurposed furniture, or, she's going to come up with certain I guess, styles of furnishings that she would have in certain parts of the store and so on and so forth. And even maybe start offering some design practice within her business as well.
With Denver up and coming, that's maybe not be the worst idea then.
We've got way too many people moving here. I think in the last 5 years, we've had close to 500,000 people move here in the last 5 years.
No offense to TX Huntsman, but it's all them damn Texans and Californians, man. They just ruined the state.
Hey, we'll take them all. I'm an import as well, so.
I got to poke a little bit at him. Oh, Jeremy said your wife can come over to his place. He's got a storage unit full of furniture she can come and repurpose.
Go. I'm sure she'll drive out there and get it too.
It's not that far a drive. Let's see, your eastern part's out of call it 9 hours.
Omaha, your far east side of the state, right?
Because to Denver, it's about an 8-hour drive. So, like I said, if you're on that other side there, you're.
What is that? Interstate 90 that runs up through there?
80.
80.
Yep. 80. Yep. So yeah, it's just boring though, because once you hit about North Platte, then it's flat and long. So speed as much as you can. Don't get caught and get here soon.
I get you. Yeah.
Now, if you drive, spot time speed though. If you're driving through, that little bit of Denver there down south of you, and you get pulled over by an Officer Jenkins, just tell him John said to let you go.
And he is.
That's my brother-in-law.
Okay, Officer Jenkins.
So if you get pulled over and you're down in the Castle Rock area and it's Officer Jenkins, tell him give John a call. He can vouch for me. Now, if you rob the bank, I better get a cut first and then I'll vouch for you.
Okay.
Oh, Texas said nobody leaves Texas. We are too baby freaking. California folks are invading. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll just blame California. It's California invading.
The G.I. Joers.
Yeah, that'd be all right though. He's
up in Northern Cali, right?
Invade though. He's probably one of the cooler ones.
Yeah.
Now you said you're a transplant though. Where are you from? Now watch you say.
I'm from North Alabama.
Now watch you gonna say California.
Yeah, I'm from Huntsville, Alabama. Rocket
Alabama.
City.
Love it.
Matter of fact, Gavin is. He's probably, he lives off in I think it's Madison, Alabama, which is 20 minutes from where I grew up. So he fishes the same waters I fished.
Man, talk about small world.
Yeah.
And to think you're actually not that far, and like I said, with family, yeah. Well, this summer I'll definitely have to keep you posted on when we head out that way. Like I said, we'll maybe have to go hit a creek, hit a stream, little body of water or something.
That sounds good to me.
And like I said, you can meet. We're still thinking of a name. Any name ideas?
Hendrix.
God, why does everybody keep saying that? And at the same time, the wife looked at me and goes, well, it's not a bad name. I'm like, I know, but do we name it after the company?
No.
That's the only.
It'll come to you.
I hope it does. We've been through. I think she walked out here. It'd be like it's a long page of names, and it's like I have no clue what to name this kid. So we just keep calling him Baby Z for now because I don't know what to name him.
Well, what you'll have to do is probably put those top 5. Go ahead and grab those top 5, and when you guys are out at dinner one night, you'll look at them. You'll start moving them around. You'll start saying, "Hey, such and such, get over here." That doesn't sound good. You'll come up with it.
Oh man. I hope we do. I told I was like, hopefully when he comes out, we'll look at him and go, "You are," and there we go.
You got any animals? Any dogs?
Got one dog. Her name's Molly.
Yep. Okay.
So I don't have to worry about that.
What kind of dog?
Lab Wiesel mix.
Ah, okay. Nice.
So she gets herself in trouble with her nose.
Oh yeah. Well, I got 3 little German wieners. I got 3 dachshunds.
I love it. I wasn't expecting that. I love it though.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing you don't have much yard where you live.
I got a pretty decent yard.
Because it all depends on the part of Denver. Okay, no, see, you're one of the few. Okay. You actually have a little decent yard. See, because you get up to where my sister and them and brother-in-law just moved. They're in what I call deep suburbia. They got like a little patch. And they got 2 big labs.
Oh, good Lord.
So
yeah, this yard's good size for our little dogs.
Troublemakers. Keeping it so green.
Well, me being in the landscape frame. Since I'm a landscape architect, I have to keep a green yard, but it's been super hard to do it this year with the drought. So,
Oh,
and my water bill is sky
I was
high.
gonna say there's no way it's cheap keeping it that green. Because I bet if we got an aerial view, you'd be like your green patch and everybody else around you brown.
Oh, you didn't. I only showed it to you for 3 seconds. There's still some good brown patches out there.
Oh man. Oh, so we've got swim baits coming down the pipeline.
Yep, that I'm hoping that'll be the first one we release here. Hopefully mid to late fall.
Okay, so this year.
And that's what I'm hoping for. It's all planning with the our mold cutter CNC guys. Depending on how quick they can put that out for me, hopefully I'll be sending a finished design over to them here within the next few weeks or so.
Leaking the whole what it's going to look like. What are we talking lengthwise?
We're minimum 5 inches.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be a bigger.
But we may have some appendages on it that stretch it out to 6 inches or so.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to have some portions of the body that are pretty bulky, with other portions that aren't as bulky, and it's going to have a really cool looking tail on it. I will leak a little bit. Have you ever seen a thresher shark?
Yes.
That has that gigantic long tail on it.
Okay.
All right, think of that.
Okay. God, now you're going to make me work on throwing bigger swim baits, because I'll admit that's probably the next thing I got to work on is I don't throw bigger swim baits. I'm normally in that 3 to 4.5 inch kind of swim bait, paddle tail or open pour style. I need to do that, but I
want to put something out there for these guys that are hunting the 5-pounders and plus. Yeah. Maybe one of these the Zamalik brothers can say, the snack rat was catching the 5.5, 6-pounders. Well, guess what? We just caught a 7-pounder with a swim bait from Bass Grenade. So
it's gonna happen.
That's what I'm hoping.
Happen. It may not.
These big Texas lakes.
I was gonna say I'll have to talk to him because I think fall time's perfect for him because they'll get that. What we're experiencing now is that transition in the lake to where those temperatures, now the air temps coming down, the water temps are going to come down. It's going to clear back up. You're going to get some of that summer filth in the water to clear up a little bit.
Yeah, here soon. Before too long, they'll start schooling up and roaming around, packing up a little bit more.
But, well, I've kept you long enough, and I apologize again for running late. So
no worries.
I appreciate you being our first guest. Before I let you go, before I end it though, where can guys find you? Where can guys find your baits?
Bassgrenade.com. Super simple. I don't have any extra letters or numbers in there. Bassgrenade.com. And honestly, if any of the listeners are on here, go use Hendrix 15 promo code and you can get 15% off now through the end of the year.
We only got a couple of his baits left, so if you want to get a little deal on a couple of his baits, get over there now because I might buy them all up after this.
Jump on it. I'd suggest, try out these new tubes, these Rogue flipping tubes.
Okay.
Also, you can check us out on Instagram at Bass Grenade Bait, and we also have a Facebook page, and it's Bass Grenade Bait Co.
Bass Grenade.
So
okay.
yeah,
I gotta follow you on Facebook then. I've got you on Instagram. I gotta do the Facebook. So perfect. Well, guys,
actually have one of your videos or at least still shots on our Facebook page.
Perfect. Yeah, I gotta follow back then. I'm slacking. But all right. Well, everybody listening, thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. Apologize, I was running behind. Everything's a little weird today. Hopefully next week Hendrix will be back. We'll definitely have to get Bass Grenade Bait back in. Maybe when he gets some of those new baits out. By all means, please go follow him if you haven't already. Go check out his website. Get some baits. Trust me, these baits will not let you down. They're great quality, great colors. They catch fish. If you don't believe me, go check out the Hendrix Facebook page. Check out #HookedOnHendrix. Guys, we're tearing up all of his baits. So, and if you've stuck around this long, please drop a like and subscribe here on YouTube as well as Part-Time Fisher on Instagram because we have a giant, and I mean absolutely giant box. I'm looking at it still, filled with baits, and some of his baits are in it. And I also have another box that has last month's Hendrix fishing box that's going to go to the second place winner. And guess whose baits were in that box? His as well. So if you want a chance to win some of his baits, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you follow. And as always, guys, I hope to see you on the water.
John, real quick, can I interrupt you?
I got interrupted. What's going on?
Here's something I thought
Yeah.
about. You guys always, have a challenge each month with the Hendrix boxes.
Yes, we do.
I want to throw something out to you guys, a little something different, if you and all the Hendrix guys are into doing it, and do a Ziploc bag challenge.
Okay.
Every one of you guys get just a normal Ziploc up bag, sandwich style bag, 1 quart. Put all your baits that you want in there for the day and your terminal tackle in there, and that's all you can take. And see who comes back with the most poundage.
Oh, geez. How big of a Ziploc bag do I get? Sandwich bag? We talking? Oh,
Yep.
boy.
Yeah, we're talking about a 1 quart bag.
Okay, so everything's.
It's something I've always wanted to do with my friends. Say, hey, we're going to limit you.
Ooh.
Put what you want in there. Say you may have one of these whipping swimmers in there, and guess what? That's the only one you brought. Well, too bad. You got to go fish a little something different in there now. But you put your crankbait or 2 in there. You put your 4, 5, 6 plastic baits in there. Your bullet weights.
Okay.
And your hooks.
You know I'm gonna
see what you guys can do.
Staff and get them. But you know what?
Just curious.
Everybody listening, I want to see what you guys can do with this. So take a sandwich Ziploc bag, put all your gear for the day. That's your terminal tackle, crankbaits, plastics, anything you want to fish for that day in that bag. Go out fish and make sure you tag Bass Grenade Bait on Instagram. Tag Hendrix Fishing. Let's see what you guys can do with just 1 Ziploc bag full of baits. So I'm a fan of that. So I like that challenge. I appreciate that one. Maybe I'll have to start asking our guests for a challenge every week. I like this. This is fun. So, but like I was saying, guys, as always, good luck on the water, and we hope to see you out there.